Okay, let's start things off with a number that might just completely change how you see, well, everything. 30,000. The average human lifespan's just about 30,000 days. Now, if you're 30 years old right now, you've already spent around 11,000 of them. And yeah, they're gone. But listen, in this explainer, we are definitely not going to panic over that number. Instead, we're going to use it to completely rethink how we operate on a daily basis. Because the truth is, most of us are making a really critical mistake with the days we actually have left. We are constantly told we just need to manage our time better. But here's the core thesis for today's masterclass. Managing the time you have left is completely, literally useless if you aren't managing your energy. Think about it. You just cannot do meaningful work or honestly live a vibrant life if you're constantly running on empty. So, let's dive into the syllabus we've put together to help rewire your life force. First, we'll look at the energy paradigm shift, then physical and emotional multipliers. After that, we'll hit social energy dynamics, explore some pretty fierce strategies for protecting core energy, and wrap it all up by designing your energy portfolio. All right, moving right into Module 1, the energy paradigm shift, where we move beyond the clock. To really break free from what we call adult time blindness, we've got to stop fixating purely on time. Think back to when we were kids, right? Days felt like weeks because our brains were recording every single new experience. But as adults, our routines just kind of put us on autopilot. The old way, time management, it traps us in this exhausting race against the clock, where we're just hyper-focused on squeezing in more busy work. Energy management, on the other hand, shifts that focus to your actual vitality and investing in your true priorities. Because let's be real, being busy is definitely not the same thing as being productive with your life force. To really ground this shift, I want you to take what we call the deathbed test. Just imagine yourself at 90 years old, looking back on your life. Are you really going to care about that extra hour you managed to squeeze in at the office? Or are you going to care about the time you spent fully present with your family? Suddenly, our daily investments of time look, well, a little bit foolish, don't they? Highly successful people know a secret. Figuring out what not to do is actually way more valuable than just making an endless list of what to do. Which brings us to Module 2, Physical and Emotional Multipliers, the true foundation of your life force. So ask yourself, would you rather have 8 highly energized hours or 12 draining, sluggish hours? Your energy levels dictate the actual quality of your output so much more than just the raw hours you put in. If you're exhausted, grinding out an extra 4 hours of work is really just you spinning your wheels and honestly probably making mistakes you'll just have to fix later anyway. And that brings us straight to sleep. Look, we need to permanently retire this toxic, I'll sleep when I'm dead mindset. Sleep isn't just a break, it is literally your brain's superpower. The source material points out this genuinely fascinating fact. Without proper sleep, your decision-making is functionally as bad as if you were drunk. So that big promotion you're after, or that new relationship you're building, yeah, they depend entirely on your brain firing on all cylinders. Now, to keep that energy high throughout the day, you absolutely do not need a 2-hour gym session. What you need are micro workouts. We're talking 10 push-ups, a quick walk around the block, maybe 5 minutes of stretching. And these aren't just for physical fitness. Your body was built to move, not to sit staring at a screen for 8 straight hours. Small physical movements actually create instant mental clarity. If you're ever stuck on a tough problem, just move your body, and you'll find the solution usually follows right behind. Now, what's really fascinating here is that our emotions actually have a secret timer. When you feel a flash of anger, fear, or frustration, the actual chemicals creating that emotion in your body only last exactly 90 seconds. That is it. At 91 seconds, those chemicals have completely flushed out of your system. So anything after that, you are actively choosing to stay in that emotion. Learning to regulate this is an absolute superpower that preserves massive amounts of your mental energy.
Let's move on to Module 3, Social Energy Dynamics. This is all about managing your relationship bank accounts. The people around us make up a huge part of our energy ecosystem. They can literally be your greatest source of vitality or your absolute biggest drain. Think of your relationships like bank accounts. Every single interaction is either an energy deposit or an energy withdrawal. And deposits don't have to be grand, expensive gestures. They're just small, daily acts, a genuine compliment, sending a random check-in text, or, interestingly enough, shared suffering. Yeah, going through challenges together actually builds way stronger bonds than just sharing fun times. On the flip side, someone constantly being late or only ever reaching out when they need a favor, those are massive energy withdrawals.
And here is the ultimate paradox of social energy.
Actually giving your time to help others makes you feel like you have more time. It literally expands your own sense of time affluence. Also, whatever you do, don't ignore your weak ties. Those distant friends and acquaintances. While our strong ties give us comfort, it's actually our weak ties that act as bridges to brand new ideas, fresh perspectives, and totally new energy.
Let's transition to Module 4 and see how this builds into protecting core energy. These are the defense mechanisms for your vitality. This introduces one of my absolute favorite, completely counterintuitive energy hacks: strategic incompetence. Basically, this means being deliberately bad at non-essential tasks so people just stop asking you to do them. It's a real game changer. It gives you radical permission to drop the ball on things that just don't matter, which powerfully shields your core energy for the things you actually do best.
Building on that, we have 4 ultimate energy protectors. First up, automate your choices. Your willpower is just a muscle and it gets tired. By doing things like eating the same breakfast or wearing a similar uniform of clothes, you completely bypass decision fatigue. Second, embrace deliberate amateurism. You really don't need to be an expert at everything. Third, use your constraints. Having limited time or money isn't your enemy. It actually forces you to be creative. And finally, practice strategic quitting. Quitting fast on things that are draining you isn't a failure. It's simply making space for what matters.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this: recovery is not a waste of time. It is exactly how you multiply your time's value. We've got to stop looking at rest as some sort of lazy withdrawal from our busy schedules. Proper recovery is a mandatory investment. It ensures that when you are working, your active hours are exponentially more potent, creative, and impactful.
Which leads us perfectly into our final section, Module 5, designing your energy portfolio with the metrics that actually matter. So, how do we apply all these principles to design a fulfilling, dynamic life that actually fits who you are? Well, first, if you're in your 20s or 30s, optimize for learning, not just a paycheck. Every single new skill you pick up is basically a lottery ticket for your future. Second, forget climbing the traditional corporate ladder. Navigate your career more like a jungle gym. Move sideways or diagonally so you can build a totally unique, irreplaceable combination of skills. Third, please stop trying to perfectly map out your entire life. Instead, just run small 5-minute experiments to test what you actually enjoy doing. And lastly, build in some margins. Living below your means creates the necessary breathing room for unexpected opportunities to jump right into your life. I'm going to leave you with this pretty provocative final question. Are you designing your life around the amount of time you want to spend or the energy you want to feel? Look, society desperately wants you to measure your life by the hours you've clocked and the dollars you've earned. But true affluence, that's having the actual energy to enjoy those 30,000 days. Throw away those standard metrics. Start measuring your vitality. Pick just one idea from today's masterclass, put it to the test, and start fiercely protecting your life force.